Yo, what is up, guys? Here again, back at it. Yeah, been a minute since I posted anything. Yeah, I basically took about 2 weeks off from playing after my last regional. Just kind of taking a break. There's new sets coming out and like waiting for the ban list and just kind of just chilling. Also, you got a bunch of life stuff going on right now, so just dividing up my time. And now that the new set's finally coming out and we have Harpoon here and the ban list is dropped, I'm starting to get back into it. And especially like with like Baron and Link Rebo being banned, it's been really exciting and trying to figure out how we want to play the deck now. And everyone's running around with like the Dispatter Omega Loop combo, and that's really cool. And I like it in this deck a lot too. And I was looking at that combo actually before the ban list, mainly because in this deck it's a lot better just because we have Moulin on top of that. So you're not just taking 2 cards out, you're taking 4 cards, and that's a lot more impactful. Plus you can look at the hand, and so yeah, it's just feels good. So even though this list is basically irrelevant because Harpoon comes out, and this list is this list doesn't completely change, but there's definitely a different mindset here, and I'm going to go into some of the things that I'm thinking about going forward with the deck at the end here. But yeah, I figured I'd just show you like where I started, and we'll get into it. So starting off with the Atlanteans, 3 Prince, 3 Dragoons, and 1 infantry in the main. So I wanted to obviously maximize the good Atlanteans, and then play the 1 infantry, 1 for the follow up for Prince, 2 because sometimes you do want to be able to search or mill the pop off the infantry, and so yes, we played the 7 Atlanteans. Next for Deep Sea cards, we played 3 Deep Sea Diva, 3 Minstrel, and 1 Artisan. 3 Deep Sea Divas, pretty self-explanatory. I chose to go back to maxing out on the Minstrel because it really is important that your first action is just Minstrel pitch, and if you open Minstrel Dragoons, it's like one of the best combos in the game. And so I wanted to maximize seeing it. Also, the extra copies are really nice because you can summon them off the Diva and recycle, summon it off of Donna later in the turn if you need it. Plus, Minstrel paired with Title is Dispatter without needing to do like the XL. So yeah, Minstrel's a lot better now because we have Title, and just hitting the card out of the hand is really important. So maximize 3 Minstrels, and then I play the 1 Artisan. 1 because it's a great extender. It's a great follow-up Diva special. It's also one of the best specials to make off of your Donna. If you don't have a card to discard in your hand for like your Icejade or Title cards, and then you also need it for the combo that I was playing in this deck. Next we get into the Icejades here. Got a 2 Ran, 1 Tremora, 1 Arginine, and 3 Cradle. No Manifest here, just because I kind of want to play without it, and it's a little too reactive for me, and so I wanted to try and play a deck that wasn't as so reactive, a little more proactive. But sort of maxing out the Cradle for consistency. You play the one Arginine because the deck needs 1. You can special off of Donna, so you can search Cradle and then add a Tremora or Ran. So like if you have like a Dragoon in your hand that you haven't been able to use, you can special the Arginine off the Donna and then discard for the Ran. Plus the Arginine gives you a really solid follow up when they start breaking your board and start killing your water cards. Your Tremora, if your Tremora's in grave, you can banish it from your graveyard to summon back to Arginine, and then add another Cradle, and that gives you follow up. And so because of that follow up that I just spoke about, that's why I'm playing 2 Ran. If I wasn't playing Arginine, I would probably play 1 Ran. I don't even think the second's really needed without Arginine, but with Arginine you want to have the follow-up option, and so you're given that, and it's really easy to be able to search the Ran now, the follow-up Ran, because one, you have Chenning, but also you have Title now, and so now that we have Title, we can constantly banish waters from our graveyard, and so that means we can banish our Rans, so that way our Cradle is live to search a new one. And then just play the one Tremora. Really only comes up in turn 1 when you want to special Prince or other monsters, maybe before your normal or as an extender. Plus it gives you the graveyard effect for the floating, and so that's nice. Next, we obviously Title's back. Look at that, crazy. I never played with Title before, so this has been fun. Funny enough, Title is not so good in the hand, but that's why I play the Baby Rulers. Because they basically act as like a Ran or Teus, where you can discard a water in itself. It's a special Title from your deck, and so that's really good. Plus, it being a level 4 is pretty relevant, and it's nice that we have dragons now in our deck. But After this locals, I think I realized that similar to Ran, where I would want to play Ran at 1, I think I actually want to play the play one baby, play one baby and one title, mainly because you you don't want to get cloggy hands, and um, you want to discard for plays, but mainly you want to be focusing on like discarding Dragoons for like a minstrel, like in combination with minstrel, and obviously opening a baby with Dragoons or Ram with Dragoons is still really good. But yeah, I think going forward, I like my combo line isn't focused on opening a baby, and so because of that, I think it's just fine playing it at 1. Because if you open either of these, it's fine, because even if you open title, you just want to discard it, get in the graveyard, so you can use this effect to summon from grave. And then with the one baby, you can search this baby off of Donna. You can add it to your hand. And so it's the same idea as like especially in Arginine, where if you already went through your Icejade cards and you have a Dragoon in your hand or a Water in your hand, and you want to get title on field in rotation, you can just add the baby to your hand with Donna, discard it, special a title later in the turn, and then go into dispatter with title, or just use it as bodies to to go into other cards. But yeah, so title felt really good. The additional body recursion is pretty crazy. Plus, once you summon off the baby, it's super wild, because you get special from deck for the title, and so it becomes a body on board, and then you can link it off, synchro it, XC, and then you can special again from your graveyard. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. And title will definitely be most likely a mandatory slot in every water deck. And then I think one baby on top of that will probably be like a pretty standard, going at least 1 and 1. Maybe you want to max on the babies, play 2 of the babies. I'm still playing around with it, but yeah, I think that's what I'm looking at going forward. Next for our generic Sea Serpent targets, we play 3 here. We play Duo for the combo, and Lapis has a free extender, and then Moulin, because we're hand ripping, so we're playing Moulin. Next we got our 2 bricks here, Succession and whatever her name is, Crowned of the World Chalice. Yeah, so playing these cards really, I feel like is like, if you want to play just like standard water and you don't want to play other like supplementary engines, then I think playing these 2 cards gives the deck like the push it needs to like build a more full board. And so I feel like these cards are needed for the deck. Plus they synergize so well, especially because Ib the synchro is also water, so you can play these cards in a waterlock build as well. And but what I have been thinking, and what I think I'm leaning towards more and more, is that I played a 40 card list for this locals. More and more I'm feeling that I don't actually want to be playing 40 cards in this deck anymore. I think there are so many engines and there's so many ways to get your game plan started, that I think you can play above 40. And I think when you play above 40, you're less likely to open all your one-ups, which I did do a few times at that locals, when I only played, there were only 3 rounds, and I managed to open bricks in a couple of those games. And I think there was even a game where I think I opened both of these. And so yeah, I really like these cards, and I think they're needed, but I think that we have to start maybe pushing the deck above 40, so that we're not seeing these bricks as much. But yeah, they're really good. And like they're not so bad, because this is still a water you can discard. If it's in your graveyard, you can still summon it when the synchro leaves the field. And then with Succession is not too bad either, but without Link Rebo, it's not as free, because you have to have a Link arrow to point for the Monster Reborn effect, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. At least like when you're pushing into a board, it feels kind of bad. Plus, you don't want to open them because you want to search them, and there's more value in that. Next for our 1-of spells, just play the 1 for 1 and call by the grave. And then for our non-engine, I just played 6 hand traps. Like I said, I was trying to keep the deck at 40, and so I wasn't pushing it anymore. In retrospect, I still think board breakers are probably the best we can do. I don't really think we can fit hand traps in this deck. They felt fine, but not great. I never really, but yeah, so Ash felt fine, although it never actually did anything. Ash by itself it's like Imperm, where it can end a turn or it can do absolutely nothing, and I'm pretty sure for the day it did absolutely nothing. And then I played 3 nibs because I wanted to test out nib post Banlist and see how it felt just as a 1-of hand trap, like if you just open nib, and it did. No, I don't even think I resolved it. I don't even think I maybe drew. No, I think I drew it 1 game, and I discarded it because for a danger effect that my opponent did. And so the nib felt I don't know. I never had an opportunity to even use it, so I don't know how good it would have been. Maybe Nip's crazy, but I don't know. And then just for consistency, I played 3 Prosperities. I chose these over like Deep Sea Arias or Small Worlds or anything like that because I was able to, before the locals, I was able to find out what 6 cards I'd be banishing going first and second. And a lot of the times, if you already open combo anyways, then and you're not searching for a piece, then you can just banish for 3, and that feels just fine too. And so yeah, Prosperity felt pretty good actually in this type of deck. And it depends on the build whether you actually want to be playing this card or not, depending on how many extra slots you need to like actually play. But at least for this list, the Prosperity was I felt like the correct choice. And so yeah, overall the deck felt fine. It did what it was supposed to do, and the issues that I was worried about coming into the locals were true. So I guess the deck was successful in the positives and negatives that I was expecting. But yeah, basically going second is tough, and I don't really know how to solve that with this deck, just because you need so much engine to play. Like most of your hands are like, I mean, honestly, most of your hands are like 3 to 4, sometimes 5 card combo hands, and so it's really hard. It's really hard there on what we want to do to deal with a non-engine, whether that's play a different engine entirely that can play before we actually use the water cards, or if we just focus on playing like Droplet, Super Poly, like Dark Ruler evenly in the main, stuff like that. So yeah, still working on it. But yeah, going second, that is the question with this deck. And I still have not currently solved that, at least playing with pure water. But yeah, so next we'll get into extra deck here. For our water links, I just played the one enemy and the one Atlantis. An enemy is great because you can play pretty well under the water lock. Plus now with title, you can like link off, like if you special title off of a baby, you could a lot of times I was wanting to like link it off into Coral Anemone and then have like Donna on board. You could even like have Donna and title on board, link them both off in Coral Anemone. Well, you wouldn't want to do that. How about to say something completely redundant? But yeah, I mean, being able to link off title for an enemy, and then special water, and then special title from grave to like make a rank 7 or do like synchro plays is pretty cool. Yeah, an enemy was great, and then I played the Atlantis because if you play an enemy, you need to play the Atlantis, and it never came up, but you know it's come up before, so it's definitely a good card. Next for our generic links, played Apollousa, Masquerena, and Little Knight. And this is just kind of like standard. This is like what the IB combo gets you. IB combo basically gets you Masquerena plus like 2 to 3 other extra monsters, and then the Masquerena can go into Little Knight or Apollousa. I never actually summoned Apollousa, not because it was bad, just never actually came up. I played against a Tearlament player, and if he was playing a more combo variant rather than a trap variant, then I definitely would have been going to Apollousa against him. But yeah, typically you're going to one of these 2 cards off the Masquerena, and yeah, so those cards are just fine. And then I was as like the flex spot link, I was testing out the Blackluster Soldier link, mainly because I was just testing with like new cards now that we have title, and so with title we have a constant level 7 recursion card, and so this card, if you make it with a level 7, then it has a targeting and destruction protection, and so I wanted to play around with that, and I made it once and it didn't really do anything. It felt kind of slow actually, and so I don't think I actually liked it, but it was worth the test. In theory, it's a pretty neat card, but yeah, I just don't think it worked out. Next, I played 1 rank 7, 1 XC as well. Just played the Gaios again because we have title, playing with different cards, and Gaios was coming up a lot during testing, just because you have so many 7s of recursion now with like Donna, Ran, and now title. And so yeah, I want to play with the Gaios. And Gaios is really good, especially like when you're waterlocked. When you get hand trapped and you get a Coral Enemy for plays and that they become waterlocked, Gaios is kind of like one of the end board pieces you're going for. It never came up for this day, but in theory it does. Yeah, and so now going to the synchros for our 10s. Played a Dispatter, Chenying, and Gamir. These 2 are pretty obvious. If you play Ran, you want to kind of be playing both these options because they're good going first and second, and they're situational on which card you actually want to make. And yeah, those felt great. I used them both. And then I played the Dispatter for the Omega Loop combo. Next for our 8s, generic 8s, I just played 1 XL, 1 Omega. You need XL for the combo, for the Omega combo, and Omega Loop combo, and then just the 1 Omega because it's Omega. It's your combo. And then I played 1 Water 8. I actually did miss the Dragite, and the Dragite was cut for the Luster link, and I wish I did play that because it did come up once where I needed that second Water 8. But yeah, White Oral Whale is pretty cool, and I do like this card, and like a more water-focused Waterlock variant, I really do think I'm going to continue on playing the White Oral Whale. It's a pretty neat card, and it can steal some games. Next with level 7, we play Big Donamami because she's a combo starter and she's crazy. She's an extender. She's your main combo line. And then I just played the Ib World Chalice Synchro because, again, combo, and yeah, this card generates so much for the deck, especially even while Waterlock. She's a water, so it's super free. And yeah, so that is the extra. And then I'll show the side deck. Side deck was really bad, honestly. I put together last second, and I should have been playing like other cards like Cosmic Cyclone, and maybe more like board breakers like Mind Control. But yeah, so let's get into it. I played the one Water Kaiju mainly because I was afraid of like Pearly or like random tower decks like Raid Raptors, which I did play against. And the hope was going second, I can like open either this or Prosperity and then dig for it. Did not come up, but in theory, it's a good one to have. Then I played the second infantry in the side, so that way when going second, I'd side out some of my more brick waters to add the infantry, so I had more ways to like pop cards as I was trying to play. Then I played the one Magnemite. I did this as a hand trap plus one going second. If you hand trap and then you get the effective search, you can search for your baby ruler or title if you need to. But yeah, so I didn't see it, but in theory it's not bad. And then for spells, for one of spells, I played the one Thrust and the one Change of Heart. I'm going to get myself 2 more Thrust because I actually think Thrust is pretty cracked in this deck. And Thrust is another card I'm considering just playing in the main deck. Because if you play like 3 Thrusts in the main, you can start playing cards like Pot of Avarice. If you get nibbed, you can Thrust and then search for Avarice and then go off from there. You could also play like one of Traps in the deck that you can set off the Thrust. And plus you can search cards like 1-for-1 and like Cradle. And so Thrust seems pretty cool, and I think I want to max it out. And Change of Heart is cool, but I just didn't see it. I probably should have played 3 Mind Controls as well. Next, I played a Droplet in the side. I didn't want to main it because mainly because I wanted to test out like Nib. And yeah, Droplet, I think I put it in a couple times. Never saw it, but you know, we know Droplet's good in this deck because you could dodge with like Diva. And then just played some board breakers, played the 1 Heartbeat, 2 Lightning, and 3 Evenly. I never saw the Evenlies, but Evenlies are really good in this deck, especially even against decks like Raid Raptors, because they still have to put themselves down to 1 towers, plus just clearing their board is pretty nice. And the more I play against the deck, the more I realize that after you kind of like clear the board besides the 1 towers, the deck's actually pretty slow, and so over time we can deal with it by playing a little slow and building up the banish pile and a duo. And like with Duo Engrave, so that you can have like a fat shending that you can use to break into it. And I played my Raid Raptor game really bad, but yeah, so Evenly's good. 2 Lightning Storms. These definitely, these 2 cards and 1 other card should have been taken out for a Cosmic. I think. Like I think Droplet probably shouldn't have been in the main. Probably shouldn't have been in the side. Probably shouldn't have been in the main. And then like the 3 Droplets and 2 Lightnings become like Cosmics and like Mind Controls and maybe another card as well. But yeah, so I wasn't too much of a fan of Lightning. And then just the 1 Heartbeat because the Heartbeat's good. And then I just played the 1 Anti-Spell for just trying to steal some games. Didn't open it, but in theory, it's really good going first. Yeah, and so that was really the deck. Obviously, it's pretty relevant now that like Harpoon's coming out, and Harpoon really changed the game, honestly. And so I've already been able to acquire my Harpoons, and I really do think that these are going to be like a 3-of staple in like any like water variant in terms of like Icejade Atlantean, Mermail, stuff like that, because this card is the same as Tremora, just a little better because it's a tuner, it's level 4, you can summon it off of an enemy for like rank 4 plays. And then one of the really cool things that I noticed that while I was playing was there were times where I didn't open a starter and I was able to like Tremora for a minstrel after I had sent a baby to the grave. So I had a legal target for minstrel because you can't activate minstrel or artisan unless you have a legal target in the first place. But what had happened is I Tremored for a minstrel and I was able to mill for a dragoons, which got me to a playable state, and then there's another moment where I was able to mill. Well, I was able to use minstrel to like mill for like an infantry during my opponent's turn to like pop their card and keep myself from losing. And so they really got me thinking about like the power of milling in this deck, and how I kind of want to play around that now. And so, especially with Harpooner now that we have multiple ways to special waters from our grave, that really changes the way I'm thinking about the deck now, because what's pretty cool is that what we can do going forward is is so we have cards like Deep Sea Artisan, Deep Sea Minstrel, and Deep Sea Sentry. And just so you don't know, in case you don't know, Sentry, it's a level 2 sea serpent. It's a deep sea, and then on special it mills the top 2 of the deck, and then you can target level 4 water, put it back in your hand. Level 4 lower water, and then if it's discarded, you can banish a card from your opponent's hand until the end phase. Although it's blind, so it's not as good as Minstrel. You can't actually see the hand. It's just I think it's even like they pick or it's random. And then we already know what Minstrel does. And then Artisan, when this is added to hand, you can look at your opponent's hand, and then when it's summoned, you can mill the top 1 card of your deck, and then special a level 4 or lower water to the field with effects negated. And so what Harpoon allows with these cards in mind is that now, if you don't, let's say like you don't open playable, then if you don't open your actual starters, if you open a combination of these cards, which would in theory is which is what would happen. The idea is that you play so many amount of starters to actually get to combo, but if you don't open those, you're opening other cards, and so the idea is that maybe you'll be opening these cards instead. And if you do that, these basically give you the opportunity to 1 mill for a starter, but then also to they're like really free. And so for example, let's say you open like Harpoon and Artisan, which is I think like what the best one would be in terms of like if you already have some type of playable action. If you open these 2 plus like a starter like Prince or Diva, what you can be doing is you can go like Harpoon effect, send it to the grave, special Artisan, and then you can mill the top card of your deck, and then special back to Harpoon, and now you have a 4 and a 1, and he's a tuner, so then you can sync these off into your IB before you synchro summon, and then even in worst case, let's say you open Sentry. Sentry's the same logic where you'll discard Harpooner, special Sentry will mill the top. Oh my god, I'm still asleep. We'll mill the top 2 cards of your deck to the grave, and then worst case you can at least just add the Harpooner back to your hand as like a discard outlet, or just whatever the case may be. And then again with Minstrel, it's the same logic, except you're milling 3, so it has the most mill potential to actually mill yourself into a starter. And yeah, so that seems really cool. And then on top of that, what else Harpooner allows, especially like with the deep sea cards that I'm looking at right now, is the fact that we can play the Deep Sea City. And this card's actually pretty crazy. It honestly really does offer a lot. Now, this card's always treated as Umi, first of all. And so what that means is that since it's always treated as Umi, if we want to play a more waterlock version, that's totally fine, because now we can play the Ocean Dragon Lord with an engine field spell rather than just like playing like a random Umi card. So he can search. He can search for your Deep Sea City, but then also if you already have it, that's fine too. But basically what he does is that when he's on the field, if there's Umi on the field as well, which this card is also treated as Umi, each player can only control 1 water monster, and it's not like an activation effect. It's like it just happens effect. So if you get him on board, whole board gets swiped right away, in case you're like going into opponent's board. But then also just like if you can get this on board with the Umi, and then like any other interactions that you have available, you're most likely going to lock your opponent out of playing. And so that seems pretty cool. But then what this card actually does is that on activation, you can put any water from your deck to the top of your deck. And so you can put cards like Dragoon, Prince, Title, stuff like that. And then and the reason you want to do that is for if you're opening a combination of these deep sea cards with your Harpooner, you could go like activate Deep Sea City, and then you can just go into your deck, and like, so let's say you don't open a starter, you can just go into your deck, grab your Dragoons, put it on the top of your deck, and now we can go like Harpoon effect. We can go like Harpoon effect, discard itself, special Artisan, and then we can mill the Dragoons because we put it there, special the Harpooner, and now we can sync into IB. A Dragoon will search us our Prince or Diva, and that seems really good. And then in addition, as well with this card is really cool, is that when you synchro into a water monster, so let's say we do that very line where we discard Dragoons, or we put Dragoons on top of our deck, we discard Harpooner to special Artisan, and then we send the Dragoons, and then we special Harpooner. Dragoons will search as Diva, and then we can synchro into our IB, And then what's going to happen here is a Chain Link 1-2 effect. Chain Link 1 Ib to add the succession. Chain Link 2 can then be Deep Sea City, that when a water synchro is made, you can look at your opponent's hand and banish a card to the end phase, just like Minstrel. So it's a second. So one, it's a second Minstrel, so you could potentially do it twice in a turn. But then also, you know, cards like Ran, you can go straight into a Gamir or a Chening and then get the banished effect off that way before normaling. And so now there's potential that we don't have to always be discarding 2 cards like a Minstrel in the Dead Water or what have you to try and get that effect going and look at the hand before we start playing. Now we have another option. And then as the last pretty cool utility option of this card is that once per turn, you can target a water you control and you can up its level by 1 or 2. So what this offers is that we no longer have to play cards like Duo, because we were always playing Duo before because we want to be able to summon a level 3 so that we can go into Ib, or we could boost the level and go into Donna. But most of the time we were always going into Ib first because Ib then bridges you up into Donna. But now we can just go straight into Prince. Prince, Minstrel Dragoon effect, look at the opponent's hand if we need to. And then, you know, do whatever happens afterwards. We don't have to like add the Minstrel anymore potentially. And then we can just use Deep Sea City. We can target Prince, up its level by 2. And now we have our Synchro 5 play for our Ib. So that's pretty neat. And yeah, so there's a lot of options here, like with the Deep Sea City and like with the Deep Sea cards, and I'm kind of playing with those right now as one of the ways to potentially play the deck. It seems pretty nice. And then just other engines I'm looking at is like, so because of Harpooner and Tremora, we now have options to special from our hand a lot more, and so we don't always have to be relying on our normal summon as much, which makes Prince a lot stronger. And so with that, we can I'm looking at playing like the Adventure engine because the sorceress in that deck is also a water, so it's like a free discard for a baby, for Ran, for Minstrel, and then you can banish it from your grave to add right to then go into your other plays, to go into your free Omni Negate before you use your Harpooner, or you use your Harpooner or Tremor to special Prince. We can also play Banshee in this deck, and we can also play like Cupid Pitch to go into like Colossus or Protoss. And then I'm also playing like with the Cashier lines and the Bestial cards. The Bestial cards work really well because you get free, because like he's a level 8, so he's really free with like a Diva going into Dispatter. Plus you can plus since you'll have Bestials in rotation, it also makes it easier to get into your title. You'll have more, and it also gives you a way of having in-engine like hand traps, which seems really cool too. And the Cashier cards are just nice because they're free and they're free summons, and yeah, it's just other stuff I'm playing with. But yeah, real quick, I guess I'll show you guys what the combo was actually based off for this deck that I was going for, like how you get the Dispatter on Mega combo, and it's a 2-card combo because this deck does not have any 1-card combos really, which is unfortunate. But the ones that the 1-card combos that are available, I do not like, and so I prefer not to play those. But yeah, just get into it real quick. Really, we're looking at, there's multiple ways to get there, but the baseline of how this combo worked was with Ran and Dragoons. Ran's one of the best starters we have in this deck, paired with Diva, because we don't need to search our duo, because Ran generates a level 3 token. And so how this combo works, you just go Ran, and you go pitch Dragoons. Ran will summon a token, and then Dragoon's effect will activate. And this will search as our Diva. And then we can go normal Diva, effective Diva, to special our Prince. And then Prince effect, we can send Dragoons to add Dragoons, and then Dragoons effect engrave will add our Minstrel. And so now we can use Minstrel, pitch Dragoons, look at our opponent's hand, and hit the nib before it comes out if it's there. This does offer nib protection, and then our Minstrel will search us a our Moulin, sorry. Search Moulin Glacier here. So now we have 4 waters in grave, and then because of the token here, once we synchro off our Diva and token for our World Chalice, we'll now have the 5 waters in grave. So Ib's going to search us Succession to our hand. Now we have 5 waters in grave. We can special the Moulin to the field, hit 2 cards, and now we can synchro off our Prince and Ib, or link off, sorry, into IP Masquerena. And so now Ib's effect engrave will activate, which will allow us to special the crown from our deck. And so now what we're looking at here is we will activate Succession, special the id back to a link arrow, and then we can synchro these off for our Donna. And then Donna, and then we can activate our Donna effect, which can then special Artisan from our deck. And Artisan's effect on summon, mill the top card, and then we can special back a water, effects negated, doesn't matter. Special back Prince here. And then we can go Donna, synchro with a Prince to go into our Omega. And then we can use our Omega effect, hit a third card from our opponent's hand, and then we can use our Ran and Artisan to synchro up into a XL. XL will summon back our Deep Sea Diva. Crap this mess for you. Special back our Deep Sea Diva. Now we have a Dragon in level 2, so we can synchro those off into our Dispatter, and the Dispatter will summon back the Omega, banishing it again for a 4th card. And so yeah, that was kind of the combo line that was in mind. And typically I'm able to get like another body as well. And really you just want to kind of get any random bodies. So if you can get like a Prince Stump going, or if you have like a baby, and you can get title rotation, that's preferred, because you can then get another body on your field, so that way you don't need to use your Dispatter, or you need to use your Mulan for the Masquerade play to go into a Little Knight. But yeah, so that's really it. And yeah, I'm not really sure where I want to go with the deck right now. I'm playing around with a lot of different engines. I'd love to hear guys' thoughts on especially like the deep sea cards. It seems really cool. It might be a little breaky in theory, but yeah, it's just kind of stuff I'm playing with, and there's so many options now with Harpooner. It really changes like the way I want to think about this deck going forward. And yeah, so really the big question is like, how many cards above 40 is it worth playing? Are the deep sea cards worth putting more of a count on? Is the field spell worth it? And how do we want to handle the non-engine setup? That is a real question. It's tough playing Super Poly in this deck. One, because card economy is tough in this deck, because you have to spend a card to use a card in this deck, and so having that discard can be tough at times. Super Poly is definitely the strongest board breaker available, right in front of droplets. But yeah, so these are kind of the thoughts I'm looking at. And also in my first match, I didn't show talents here. I did play talents in my first feature match that I posted, and then right after the match I realized that, oh, you can't, talents and prosperity do not work together, and I completely forgot about that. And so I didn't even show talents in this list, because that was it was incorrect to try and play those two cards together. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Look forward to working on this deck. There is a regional this weekend that I might be going to. Plans have kind of changed. My buddy who's going to try and get his invite, he's not sure if he's able to go anymore, and if he doesn't go, I probably won't, so I can go to locals and get some more matches for you guys and test out some more decks. But yeah, other than that, I'm looking at YCS Indy as where I want to like take my next water sauce, and see how that goes. But yeah, all right, that's it for now, guys. Thanks for tuning in, checking this out, and yeah, peace.